Yo, yo, yo. What is up? Um, today we're going to be doing a video on how to say no, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean how you as a person can come to feel comfortable with deciding, with saying no to people that you semi care about, have some importance within your life when it comes to different things, right? I assume that most of my viewers are in the teenager to young adult stage. That's like about where I am. I'm like 20 years old. So this video is mainly for you guys, the people who haven't kind of completely figured themselves out and figured out how to be comfortable not being included, right? Because that's where struggling to say no comes from. There's a level of you want to be included even if you yourself aren't interested in it. You're kind of afraid of the backlash of saying no because in your mind it's like it's larger than it is, than it will be, and it's more important in your mind than it really is, right? Because one thing with us younger people, especially teenagers, is that we overestimate the impact of certain events and individuals, the impact that they will have on our lives, right? Like things like, uh, given this is something that I see a lot in movies, so tell me if I'm wrong, but it's in movies it'll be like prom. Here it's matric dance, right? Where people will be like, oh, if I don't go to prom, this is the biggest event of my life, blah blah blah. What happens if I miss it? I might not make it if I miss it. And the thing is, adults tend to kind of write it off because they have the future, looking back thing where they're like, it really wasn't that big a deal. I never think about it. But I do understand where you're coming from in that because this can be applied to anything. I'm just using a universal thing that we all go through as a horse to ride in this conversation, but it can be applied to anything, whether it be friend groups, a girl, a test, something, right? But like, well, over it, like I understand where you're coming from because at that point, it is one of the bigger events that you have in your life, right? It's something that you've been thinking of since you got into high school. It's kind of the climax of your high school life. It's this big event. Everyone's going. Everyone's excited to be going. Everyone's been hyping it up. So I can understand where you're coming from, and in stuff like that, right? I can understand the kind of fear of not being included if you say no. But what you got to realize is that outside of yourself and your family, most people will come and go to some degree. Not to say completely, but will come and go to some degree. And if someone will leave because you said no to something, then you probably didn't need them there to begin with, right? Like they weren't going to be a good influence anyway. Because if you are around someone that you're justifiably afraid that if you say no, they'll leave or they'll admonish you or something, then you didn't really want to be around them anyway, right? I feel like I've gone a bit sidetracked, but basically the idea is you not feeling comfortable saying no has more to do with you not feeling comfortable in who you are, right? That kind of sounds vaguey, but basically what I'm getting at is that if you're someone who's comfortable with who you are, you're proud of who you are, you've done things that you're proud of, you're kind of building a mindset that you would be happy with. You're building habits that you're happy with and that will have long-term gains and stuff. You kind of have a trust in yourself that when you say no to something, it's most likely for the better. Right now, obviously, everyone makes mistakes. You can always make a mistake, and maybe you overestimated how negative of an impact something would have had. But the point here is that if you said no, you can say, you being confident in yourself makes it that you can say no comfortably because you are comfortable with why you said no, right? Sometimes it takes a bit longer to think, but like there's reasons why you want to say no, right? Like for me personally, there's cases where I wanted to say no and I've just gone along with it. And then there's cases later on where I've wanted to say no, and it's like the same thing. And then I thought about it, then I stuck with the no. Because, okay, let me give you an example. So back in the days, like now it's 2025, so 2 years ago, beginning of university, me and my friends super into clubbing, go every week, sometimes twice a week. Club, club, club. That was the life. Hungover all the time. Feeling like ass afterwards, like the days afterwards. But while I was there, it was fun. And then, at some point, I kind of got out of it because I spent a prolonged period of time not doing it. People that were there had now left to overcross overseas. School had properly started. People started getting a bit more serious about school. So by virtue of that, if the people that you're clubbing with aren't really clubbing, then you're not going clubbing yourself, right? So after that prolonged period of time, I realized I don't really like getting wasted like that, right? Like it's fun in the moment, and then you wake up the next day and you feel like ass, and you're not able to do things that you're normally able to do if you just weren't wasted, right? And I realized that if I was going to compare what I get from being drunk to what I get from not doing it at all, I'd rather just not do it, right? I'd rather not party and just stay at home. It doesn't even need to be like some great thing like, oh yeah, I stay at home on a Friday and do work because I'm so locked in. Like no, it could be something as simple as rather than go to a club, I'd rather stay at home, play video games with like my two friends. We're on a group call, or I'd rather stay at home, invite my friends over, we have a braai, or I'd stay home, invite my friends over, we play pool while having a braai. Go to a friend's house instead, hang out there. I'd rather do that and then be fine the next day because I didn't drink, or I drank like so little, but probably I just didn't drink because I drive now. I'd rather do that, wake up the next day, feel great. I have a bit of an ego boost of being like one of the people who aren't hungover this morning, and I continue feeling great. I feel so healthy. I don't have that. I don't know whether you've been hungover before, but there's that kind of stomach burn, heartburn, kind of not heartburn, but it's more like you can feel your stomach's more like acidy kind of thing. It's not very nice. But yeah, I'd rather wake up feeling fresh than have had that crazy night out and then come back and then feel like ass. Especially in terms of if it's nothing happening and it's just a regular thing, I'd rather just, you know, do something else. So before I'd feel uncomfortable with that. Because I'd be like, oh, but what if I say no and I miss out or they want to go, blah blah blah. Now there's been cases where I've been asked, oh, let's go out, and I've been like, nah, not really, because I thought about, I came to an epiphany where I was like, no, I don't actually like clubbing like that, like because the only reasons I liked clubbing were girls, because obviously, and then hanging out with my friends, and obviously being drunk. But I was like, if the activity can't survive being fun without your friend, like ignoring goals, if the activity can't survive being fun because without your friends and without being drunk, then is the activity fun by itself? And I realized, no, I don't like going to the club. I like hanging out with my friends. It just happened to be that where we would hang out was at the club. I liked hanging out with my friends and getting goals, and that just happened to be at the club, but it wasn't necessary per se. And it wasn't the club itself that I liked. It was just, as I said, hanging out with my friends. So once I realized that, and then once I got to a place where I wasn't really chasing goals anymore, because at some point I was chasing goals, but it was more just because I wasn't super confident that I could get goals, right? It was a weird thing. It was the thing of I wasn't confident that I could get goals. So to kind of prove that I could to myself, I focused a lot on getting goals, and I would get goals sometimes. Sometimes I wouldn't, but like that was like the focus. And it wouldn't even be like long term stuff. It'll just be like the club getting goals, where it's like, oh, for the night. So it's like I would feel attractive. I'd be like, okay, I can. But once you get over that kind of insecurity, because it's an insecurity that I myself had, right? From being young, being a chubbier kid, worrying if girls liked me or not because I was fat, and I was like, okay. And then I got in shape. Me getting in shape was like in high school, and high school was an all boys school. So now it was still like a thing that I was a bit hung up on. But then once I got over that, then I was like, I don't actually enjoy going to the club, and there's no real reason for me to be at the club. You know, it's like at this point, I don't enjoy being drunk. Like, I don't enjoy getting drunk like the morning after. I'm not really trying to get with girls at the club, and I can hang out with my friends somewhere else. So it just became a thing of when I'd be invited, all these things would flow through my mind, and I'll be like, I don't actually want to go to the club. I'll be like, no, I'm not available for today, but you can go have fun. I'll see you another time. Nah, I'm not really feeling it. How about we do this? It would be a thing of, oh, let's go to a bar to play pool. And I'll be like, I'm not trying to leave the house. I don't see the point in going to the bar to play pool. Paying extra amount of money to buy drinks and play pool. Driving somewhere that's particularly far. Like, what's the point? I don't even want any girls there, right? So it's like I don't see the point of going there when I have a pool table at home. There's like a shopping place near my place. Come over to my place. We'll buy drinks there. We'll buy food there, probably for cheaper with better food, and we'll just hang out at my place. And then you can go afterwards or stay over, right? And I could only feel comfortable being like, no, I actually don't want to do that. Come here. Because I was confident in myself and comfortable in myself that even if they were like, now we're going to do the other thing, I was comfortable being like, all right, I guess I'll stay at home by myself. Right? I don't mind missing out because based off of what I want, I'm not missing out on much. Right? And that's what you need in your life to be comfortable to say no. You need to be someone who whatever you're saying no to, you know that you're not missing out on much, and you don't mind missing out because whatever they're doing that you said no to, it's fine. You don't care about it, right? That's why you said no. You wouldn't have said no if you wanted to do it. You said no because you don't want to do it, and you're comfortable with being the one guy in the group who doesn't want to do it. Being the one guy in the group who doesn't go to the club with them, being the one guy in the group who doesn't um, I don't know, if you're with more less savory characters, doesn't smoke with them, doesn't, you comfortable being that guy, and I think that's important for. It's not even like a young men thing, just people in general being comfortable being that person. You're comfortable with yourself and your decisions that you can be the person that isn't interested in doing whatever, and you feel comfortable being like, no, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that is the video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the Instagram, Kumbi_fitness. Follow the TikTok, Kumbi. And yeah, see you in the next video. Peace.